Racing horse farts. Your thoughts from the throne. Unfortunately, Zach caught COVID. So since he can't record with me today, we decided to do the special episode of Throne Thoughts, answering your Throne Thoughts from the comments in our previous Throne Thought videos. So I've chosen 8 different comments from you at home to answer here, so let's just dive right in. First question, how many satellites are orbiting Earth? As of November of last year, 2021, there were 8,029 satellites. Next question. How many dogs are in the world? There are over 900 million dogs on this planet. Only about 20% of them live as pets. Oh, this is a good one. This is very interesting. Since everything is made up of atoms/molecules, and they make the thing what it is, our smells us actually breathing in tiny particles of that thing. So when we smell a flower, are we breathing a flower? And will the flower get smaller because of that? Yes, we do actually breathe the flower, and it does lose mass when that happens. Just like liquids evaporate, solids actually do the same thing, and that's called sublimation or sublimate. The scientific term for this is volatility. Liquids have a much higher volatility than solids, which is why they evaporate so much faster than solids sublimate. We can then smell these sublimated molecules floating around in the air. Why is it that no matter the color of the food, red, yellow, green, orange, etc., it all comes out brown? This is definitely a thrown thought. So, turns out that excrement is typically made up of 2/3 water and 1/3 solid matter. 30% of that solid matter is bacteria. The other 40% is a mixture of inorganic waste, fats, and used up body substances like red blood cells. The used red blood cells are called bilirubin. Bilirubin? Something like that. And they actually come out as an orange, kind of brownish color. This mixes with another liver product, which is bile, which is kind of a yellowish color. So bacteria plus red blood cells plus yellow bile equals brown. There you go. Maybe TMI for that, but you know, it's throwing thoughts. This next question is pretty funny. Is water the only thing that is wet? Thinking about every liquid I know other than nitrogen, all of them have water in their base. Every drink, blood, etc. Well, the technical definition of the term wet is covered or saturated with water or another liquid. So this means that for something to be wet, water does not necessarily have to be involved. This also brings up the thought though, is water wet by itself? According to my interpretation, the answer is no. Water is not wet by itself, but you can get water wet by pouring another liquid into it. This is actually highly debated on the internet. So next question is, do atoms have color? The short answer is no. The slightly longer answer as to why atoms don't have color is because of size. The typical wavelength of light is between 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers wide, depending on the color. In contrast, atoms have a width of only 0.2 nanometers. So a light wavelength can't bounce off a little atom because it just goes around it. And so basically, no, an atom cannot have a color. Oh, this one's really funny. Okay, so the origin of the phrase cool beans. Why do the beans have to be cold? It's speculated that the term cool beans stems from the phrase some beans, which stems from the phrase full of beans, which was horse racing jargon or stable slang from the mid-1800s. The funny thing is that the term full of beans came around because, people would feed their racing horses beans to help them go faster. But the joke was that the reason these beans made the horses go faster is because the horses would fart and the air pressure would make the horses go faster. And that is where cool beans comes from. Racing horse farts. Now, this was a really good question posted by my dad, actually. If water expands when it freezes, can you harvest the energy from frozen water, lifting a large amount of weight? The next big thing in clean energy? It turns out that you can produce actually good amounts of energy from freezing water. However, it's not done by actually lifting a ton of weight. A Russian team back in the 80s created this. This is the Icy Rider, a small ice-powered go-kart built in the 80s. This kart's maximum speed was 43.5 miles per hour and can travel up to 400 meters or a quarter mile. So you can see this big tank on the front of this go-kart. The way this works is a good half of this tank is full of water that then freezes. But of course, when water freezes, the ice expands, and that expansion pushes oil that's in the top half of the tank. Now the oil goes through these lines and compresses gas. Now that pressurized gas is stored until, well, the energy is needed. When you need that energy, you release, open the valve for the pressurized gas, which then turns a turbine, which then turns the wheels of this go-kart and takes it 43.5 miles per hour. Really cool stuff. I'd like to experiment with that someday. That'd be a fun project. And that's it. That is the top 8 throne thoughts that you guys asked in the comments below. I had a lot of fun doing this episode. It's nice not having to come up with all the questions myself, to be honest. So we will definitely be continuing to do more of these special episodes with your throne thoughts that you comment below. And next season, you'll get another special episode of Throne Thoughts. The end? I think the end.